Okay, now that I'm terrified because I just got scared by an innocent bunny rabbit, I wanted to go over real quick about, first of all, the webinar, and second of all, I've been having a lot of questions regarding time management in particular this month, and I think it's kind of people wanting to know, like, how do I schedule in this webinar? You know, I work during the day, but that kind of ties into the topic of time management in general, because I noticed that when it comes to time management, people tend to think that they're, you know, that people like me have some great set schedule where we're like Pinterest moms, where we sit and have everything plotted on paper, and you know, we have a nice binder that keeps us organized all the time, that there's some motivational hack to keep you on schedule in terms of time management. But I want to kind of go over that a little bit with you guys. First of all, let's talk about the webinar. The holiday webinar is going to cover the 7 crucial steps that you need to prep your shop for the holidays. This webinar is completely free. You don't have to enter a credit card or anything crazy like that. I don't know why people would assume that, but we've had a couple questions, so I want to clear that up. It is 100% free. There's no sales pitch at the end. We are genuinely trying to get you guys geared up for the holidays, because between like early September, honestly, early September and, you know, beginning of November, it's just crunch time for the holidays. Your shop should technically already be ready, but what we're going to do is make a great systemized plan for you guys so you can follow it step by step. Get your shop ready as quickly as possible. That way you're good to go for Black Friday. I'm also going to be teaching you how I personally made $3,000 in 1 hour on Black Friday of last year. And I'm going to be using the same strategy this year in my shop, which will probably result in even more sales. So I'll keep you posted on that, but definitely be sure to sign up and register. I'm going to put the link down below. That way you can sign up for that if you haven't already. I would hope that you have. But we've already got almost 3,000 people registered for this webinar, so super excited. But be sure to get your registration in soon, because as I have mentioned several times, we may need to put a cap on it. When too many people sign up for a webinar, it tends to make the tech go wrong, and we definitely wouldn't want the entire webinar crashing just because we have too many people. So be sure to register for that below. Next up, let's talk about time management. When it comes to time management, and if you're an alpha and you've asked me personally about time management, you are going to hear the same thing that I tell all of my alphas. When it comes right down to it, we all have the same 24-hour day. Now, how you use that 24-hour day is entirely up to you and your self-discipline. For me personally, which, you know, this is going to depend on you. No one can set a schedule better than you can. So for me personally, my schedule isn't going to necessarily work for you, because, you know, I've got, you know, 1 child, maybe you have 10 kids. I have 3 pets, maybe you have, you know, 1 pet that is really high maintenance. It all just entirely depends on your life and your schedule, whether you have a full-time job or not, whether you're trying to make your handmade business your full-time job, whether you're working a full-time job while trying to turn your handmade business into a full-time job. You know, it's going to entirely depend. But the main thing that you need to remember is that even the biggest names have the same 24-hour day as you do. Oprah has the same 24-hour day as you do. Elon Musk has the same 24-hour day as you do. I have the same 24-hour day as you do. And, you know, I'm just going to guess that Elon Musk, of all people, probably has a lot more obligations in a day than you and I do, but he's able to do it. How is he able to do it? Well, it all comes down to that self-discipline that you need to begin instilling in your brain, like, now. Because the longer you wait to begin forming these habits, the harder it's going to be, and the longer it's going to take you. On average, I believe it takes 67 days, 65 days, 67 days to form new habits, somewhere around there. And that is 60-something days that you have to be doing this every single day before those new habits become a part of you. It's the same thing with fitness or eating right. You have to be doing it for 60 days, almost 2 months, or 2 months or more, before that becomes a part of you, where it becomes easier. And most people don't even make it past that first 60 days. That's what makes it so hard for some people. So, hearing scary noises. That is absolutely the first step. Make sure that you are dedicating yourself to whatever it is that you need to be doing, and do it for 60 days. Do it for a minimum of 60 days. I have no idea what that sounded. Anyway, all right, so 60 days. Make sure that you block it off on your calendar. Block off the next 60 days on your calendar and write reminders to yourself. You know, these are the tasks that I need to get done. Now, for me personally, I started out every night I would write down what I need to get done the next day. And that was a really great way for me to start personally when I started my Etsy shop and really began making sales and cracking down and realizing, wow, I need to systemize this. Otherwise, I'm never going to be able to keep up. So I started out every night. I would write down what I want to accomplish the next day. I would do that before bed, and I would review that when I would wake up in the morning. And now, one of the biggest mistakes that I made starting out was I would put too much on that list. I would put 10 things that I wanted to get done that day. And for me, that was extremely unrealistic. I was a mom. I mean, I'm still a mom, but I was a mom and I was a military wife, and I had a lot that I needed to do at home because my husband was gone for 16 hours a day working. Between working and PT, it got hard. So one of the first things that I recommend when you're actually starting that list is make sure that you are making the goals on your list achievable. And then at the end of the day, cross off everything that you got done. And if there was anything that you didn't get done, just carry it over for tomorrow. Now, really think about the things that you did get done, though. That's one of the biggest mistakes that we make, is we focus too much on what we didn't get done, and we don't pay enough attention to the things that we did get done. And, a lot of the times, some of those things that we do, we don't write down. Maybe it wasn't something that you wrote on your goal sheet, but it's something that you did end up accomplishing. For example, maybe you helped your kid with a huge assignment that they had. That doesn't necessarily reflect on your business, but that is something that you accomplished that day that you had to do, and you got it done. So additionally, when you finish that list, at the end of the night, when you go to write down the things that you need to do tomorrow, also write down the things that you accomplished that weren't on the list. It's just a really great reminder that, yeah, you did a lot more than what you had initially planned. And maybe, helping your kid with an assignment is the reason that you didn't get to editing those photos. And the very next thing that I want to talk to you guys about is prioritize that list. There are some things that are going to be more important than other things. Make sure that the important things are what you do first. For me, that's answering emails. Every morning, I wake up, I'm not entirely awake yet. I brew my coffee, I get my cup of coffee, and I immediately go into my office and I begin reviewing my emails, because I usually wake up to about 25 to 30 every morning, and that's kind of growing by the day with the handmade alphas, but you guys know how I am. I reply to all of my messages, so it does take me a little bit of time, but it's a great way to wake up in the morning and get my brain moving. I like helping people. It puts me in a great mood for the rest of the day, and I know that if all else fails, that's something that I got accomplished. The next thing that I want to give you guys, and this is just a really hilarious rule of advice that I've been telling people, and it's one of those things that nobody will tell you. It's one of those things that I personally do, and I can't believe I'm telling you this because it's mildly embarrassing. But if you are having trouble with consistency in your small business for making posts on social media, that seems to be a huge problem I see. People saying that they just have trouble being consistent with their social media posts on Facebook, on Instagram, maybe on Pinterest. One thing that has always worked for me is everybody goes to the bathroom, and everybody spends quite a bit of time in the bathroom. So when you are using the bathroom, make at least one social media post. That way, you know that if you didn't get anything else done that day, you made your one social media post during a time when you might not have been doing much else. I know that's really gross and goofy, but it truly does work when you find yourself with an extremely constricted schedule like I do. All right, guys, these were just a few small tips to kind of help you with time management. To kind of overview, remember, write down what you want to accomplish tomorrow at the end of tonight. And then go in and also add the things that you accomplished that day that might not be on the list. Anything that you didn't accomplish, carry it over and put it on the list for tomorrow. When you're completing your tasks on that list, be sure to prioritize the things that you have to get done first. And lastly, really take time to reflect on the things that you were able to get done, and don't beat yourself up over the things you weren't able to get done. That's why we put the least important things at the bottom of the list. Those are the things that can be done later. you can take those things that weren't as important and put them off until tomorrow, as long as you make sure that you're getting them done, especially when it comes to responding to customers, packing orders, you know, the actual essential. All right, guys, well, I hope that this helped. I am currently looking at my garden in disgust because it is so overgrown, all part of time management. I have not had the time to work on my garden, therefore it is overgrown. So if you find yourself with lawn grass or a messy house, or the kids' room is in terror, don't feel bad about it. It happens to all of us. Sometimes you just have to let these things go for a couple days and do it later. And for example, my garden is a mess, and you know what? I'm not happy about it, but I'm not going to stress about it because I know that it will take one day for me to put it all back together. And yeah, it's going to take some work, but I'm not that worried about it. In terms of the webinar, I hope that you guys are already registered, but if not, be sure to do so below because there is very limited time to get on that list. Sorry, my air conditioning unit is so loud. Other than that, if you have any questions at all, feel free to join the Handmade Alphas. I will put a link to that below. You can email me personally. I will be sure to answer you. And if you ever have any emergency Etsy questions, I am always here to help. All right, guys, talk soon.